This is 77 WABC, The Yola Nash Show.
77 WABC Radio. Welcome to the Yola Nash Show. I'm your host, Yola Nash. I'm super excited today because I have a very special guest. She's a brilliant poet, writer, musician, and artist. She's a rising star in poetry field with a remarkable following around the world. And also, she's the director of experimental short films. Simply multi-talented. Fela Siderbaum is here. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
And you drove down all the way from Boston to be here today.
That's right.
I'm feeling like super excited. And many of our listeners know you pretty well by now, I would say, because you've been frequently featured on my show. And they know you as Fela, aka Mano Dano. And I must admit, I absolutely admire your talent and your writings, and this is why we are here today.
Well, thank you.
So, what came first? The poems, the book, the paintings, the music, the video poetry?
That's interesting. Well, they all came at different phases of my life, and I never thought I would put them all together. So the first thing that came was the paintings, but I did them many years ago, and they were just resting in some closet and for the longest time. And then I wrote some music, but I didn't know what to do with it, so I just had it, sometimes listened to it. But when the poems came, that is when everything changed, because they flew out of me, over 100, and people wanted to hear them. So then I wanted to put them on video, and then I needed music, and then I needed the paintings, and suddenly everything came together.
Wow, so all the poems just happened spontaneously?
Completely spontaneously. I never thought I would write poems. I wasn't particularly interested in poetry, but my thoughts, my questions, my lifelong quest for truth led to these poems, and they just flew out of me everywhere. In the most impossible situations.
Wow.
While driving in a parking lot on the Merritt Parkway, in the shower.
I was wondering, because some people who are so creative, they have these moments and they write down pieces of their poems or songs on a little napkin or piece of paper because it happens so fast and you don't want to lose it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Wow.
So when it happened, I was never without a notebook. I just followed it whenever it happened.
Beautiful. And many big, composers wrote their biggest compositions like that, like almost in some kind of state of trance or something.
Yes, completely on their own. I can't, especially with the poems, I can't say that I can lay claim to them. I'm not saying channeling or anything like that. It just came, and I couldn't have constructed them if I tried.
Can you describe the multi-art aspect of your work? Like, tell us about your creative process. You just told me a little bit, but how do these ideas come to you, and then how you organize it, how you think about it, how to put it out, and all these things? Is there any special approach?
Yes, it happened. On one hand, it happened pretty organically, because the poems came, and then when I would read them to friends, people wanted to hear them. So I decided to, maybe put them on YouTube. And then one thing led to the next. So I didn't really plan it, but it evolved. It came like the poems. One thing led to the next, as I said, and we needed music. So I dug out my old music from over 20 years ago. And then my great videographer said, you have to write some more.
Wow.
And I'm going, I'm not set up for it. And I hadn't touched the piano. I'm not trained in any of these fields.
So you didn't study any of these art forms in college?
No, far from it. I didn't think I had any art in me. I just felt like an artist without an art. And then all these things emerged, and they just came on their own. And it's sort of magical, because I wasn't bound by convention or rules or what is done, neither in painting nor in music nor in the poems. It's great because it has its own shape, and it just is the truth.
And it's pure.
I'm not bound by rules because I can do what I want, and then
I love that. I love to hear that.
It's my freedom, and it's such fun. That's the main thing. I'm so happy doing any of them. Complete passion.
Wow. What would you say has had the biggest influence on your life that led you down this path where you are today?
Well, I would have to say it's sort of, it's the way I grew up. It's a very strange, unique way I grew up in Germany. the child of Holocaust survivors, and that in itself is a little bizarre. And it led to many questions that I had. What are we doing? People seemed so miserable after the war, and it was, why are we here? What is the meaning? What is truth? What is reality?
Yeah.
So that led to everything. Those questions started when I was very young, and I've been pondering them my whole entire life. What is really true, and what do we really know? And what is real? Those were my questions. And later it was, what are the values that we have? Are they absolute? Are there absolute truths? What are thoughts? What is
love?
Okay, thank you for the
I always talk about love.
Yes, love. Well, that's actually where I arrived, usually. All the poems I wrote, at one point I thought, am I writing the same poem again and again? Because without fail, they would end up in a place of love or great peace, and they resolved themselves. I would start, let's say, with loneliness. We all experience loneliness or despair. And it seems like a little dismal. What are the subject matters that I'm writing about? However, they're life. And hence the title, by the way, of my book, Of Life and Other Such Matters. It's all the substance of life. But what is the meaning underneath it? Where does it take us? And if we go all the way into a feeling or into a question, all the way, without being afraid of where it might lead us, without fail, it goes to love, to your heart, to your own compass. So
I love it. This is why I admire your writings, your poetry. It's incredible. It's so unique. And what inspires you the most?
What inspires me? I think I'm continuously inspired. I can't say there's one thing that's the most, but I just recently had the opportunity to sit on a plane next to Michio Kaku.
Oh my God!
That was a highlight of one of the highlights of my life. I can sit next to this amazing physicist and ask him questions, and he was very gracious. I asked him about the Big Bang. What do we really know about the Big Bang? Now that seems to be very far removed from my subject matter, but it isn't. It's about reality. How do we know about all kinds of subjects in physics, and what is reality, what is matter, what are particles? And he gave me the most beautiful answers. That inspires me.
Wow.
To hear answers that merge physics with the deeper meaning of life.
Yeah. In your video poems, you created 2 characters that are portraying your poems. And how did you come up with that idea?
I was preparing to maybe read my poems on YouTube, and I just didn't really think I wanted it to be me. I mean, I didn't want it. It wasn't. It didn't want it to be about me. So then, on a whim, I had dressed up once as this character that is now has the name Mano Dano, and I thought, okay, this guy's going to read the poems. And well, if you read poems on YouTube, you need a name, right? So I invented this name, Mano Dano, and it seemed like it was the perfect name.
Yeah.
So, and I had pulled together all kinds of clothes. They were all my own clothes, a crazy jacket, some pajamas. The only thing that I didn't have was the mask, because I had once dressed up not to be recognized for a dress-up party, or what is it, a costume party.
Right.
And so that was the first character, but Mano Dano was lonely, so...
You created a second part.
So I needed a second one, and I always liked the crazy clown wig, and that's how Mani Dani came to being. And now Mani Dani, she's the more edgy one, and Mano Dano is wiser. And of course, they are both alter egos in the end. They speak my voice, the different aspects.
And they are consistently searching, asking questions, looking for truth.
In the back of my mind, from what I can tell now, retrospectively, I have to say, those questions always cook in the back of my mind. What is truth? Can we get to the bottom of it? Yeah. Is there an absolute truth? Again, I'm repeating myself, but this is exactly what it's always going on in the back of my mind. And so I pursue it in the poems, and it always leads me to a good solution. So that's what they're doing.
And the prestigious New York City Independent Film Festival is showcasing you this year again. I have to say and emphasize, they are showcasing the best independent productions from New York City and around the world. And the festival will feature you and your 3 impressive works. And also a great news. I would love to absolutely emphasize that news. Your highly anticipated new poetry book just came out. Tell us about that.
Oh, that is
so exciting.
It's so exciting. Yesterday was day 1.
Oh my gosh.
On Amazon.
So it's still hot.
It's still very hot. And it's been long in the making, but friends have been pushing me, go, put your poems into a book. Okay, in the end I did it. And it's called Of Life and Other Such Matters. And well, what else is there?
Yes.
It's of life and other such matters. And those are the first 35 of my over 100 poems.
Again, Of Life and Other Such Matters. Fela Siderbaum, new beautiful poetry book on Amazon. To all of our listeners who are maybe tuning in right now, I'd like to remind you, I'm Yola Nash. You're listening to The Yola Nash Show, and I'm talking to Fela Siderbaum, the incredible poet, writer, and artist. Are there any other projects you're working on right now? Tell us. Any secrets?
It seems that I'm always spinning with new things, but the main one that seems to be emerging is a children's series. And I imagine it's really more like a television series. And I mean, you have to dream big too.
Yes.
And it's just, I have very, very sweet children's poems. I have 7 so far, and they're very exciting.
Wow.
And it's a whole different angle on it.
And different type of thinking and expressing your
right. Just
thoughts.
bringing those same questions into a fun form. I don't construct them around the lesson or the moral of the story. I allow it to come. So I start out here, Mano, I'm Mani, and just very, very loosely. And then suddenly what I want to show children or what might be important to them emerges. And then I go with that.
Oh, good luck with that. That sounds so
thank
exciting. And also, I see you have an impressive following around the world. Do you think it's because more and more people are searching for something deeper, for the truth, like you do through your writings, through your poems?
I think
some kind of awakening?
Well, some people say that there's a greater and greater awakening. On the other hand, if I look at the state of the world, it doesn't exactly look like that to me. However, I think we are all looking for truth. We're all asking those questions, whether we do it consciously or subconsciously, because we're all looking for happiness. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is happiness. That's what are we looking for? So, yes, I believe that there's a place for it in the world just by the responses I get, that people burst out crying or they feel so deeply touched, and it really touches me very deeply that this is what is happening. Mm-hmm. So that inspires me as well, of course, I must say.
Mm-hmm. What's your dream, Fela?
Oh, you got me there.
I love your laughter. Here's the best laughter in the world.
Well, I'm sort of living my dream, actually, but ideally, just in terms of the poems, I would love for them to be out in the world and for more people to get the fun out of them that I do, and to feel the love that I do that permeates me when they've taught me and they've made me happier and happier.
And people can tell easily. So to all of our great listeners, and I invite you to go and experience Fela's work today. Visit her website. Her website is very easy to remember, manodano.com, and that's MAHNODAHNO, manodano.com. I'm telling you, these poems will make you cry, will make you smile, you will analyze your life, you will reflect, it will give you hope, it will squeeze your heart. You will experience how an artistic expression can heal your heart and your soul. So go there today, manodano.com. And also, Fela, please tell our listeners your social media handles. You are on Facebook, right? Very active.
Yes, Manodano, Facebook.
Oh, perfect.
Really
so it's easy.
Way. Yes.
And again, May 7th to 13th, New York City Independent Film Festival. And Fela Siderbaum, new poetry book on Amazon. Fela Siderbaum, I am absolutely honored to have you on the show today.
The honor
Thank you
is mine.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is 77 WABC, The Yola Nash Show.